Hello, and welcome to Game 3 here tonight at the NACL Season 2. I'm Egad, and not joining me is Rapid, but Studio, to bring you the Cognitive Gaming. Their whole roster is actually here finally, and vVv, Vision, Valor, Victory, and we're in to pick some bands, as the first band's going to be Nidalee away from Beacon Wolf.
And if you don't know the history of Team Cognitive, the original roster, which had Zemfira and a few others, did break up. And they've been going through sub-rosters, then they changed to their official roster, but used 2 subs yesterday. And
no bans for anybody.
It has not been going that well for them. They're currently 110, but they actually have the full roster now, so got to give them credit. They played versus LMQ twice yesterday, and the first loss was a total of 18 minutes for a Nexus explosion. Not a surrender, but a Nexus got destroyed. And the second game was actually a huge improvement. So let's see if they can keep that stride going, keep improving. Now that they have everybody here, this roster with iKenny in the top lane, I want to see if they actually have some impact. I want to see if they have the gusto, because they can still make it to the playoffs. It's just going to be a lot of hard work. They'll need to get a lot of wins in the next few weeks.
All right, and bans flew right on through. Sivir and LeBlanc are going to be taken away from vVv, while Lulu, Kassadin, and Yasuo, so 3 big mid bans out there. But that freed open the jungle for Liquid and Ori in that Pantheon, and then Gragas and Elise for the side of vVv. And if you don't know already, the Flappy Bearfish is ADC sub now for Dignitas. It was just announced today. He's also a player for UCI, University of California, Irvine. He played in the NACC, where he actually lost to iKennyU's team in the Grand Finals. So that was pretty fun, and iKennyU obviously took the championship, so cool for him. And I forget his school's name, but it looks like they're going to go for Ziggs in the mid lane for Nubby Pooh Bear. And I wouldn't be surprised if they gone for an 80 carry or support here, and Thresh going to be their pick, possibly most likely.
Yeah, I mean, Thresh is a big bad support that actually made it through the ban phase. Normally, you'd expect him to be out of there. Then you have that kind of triangle of supports where it's going to be Annie or Leona, champions that will actually have counters. But Thresh is, a big nasty. He doesn't really have a huge counter. He may not have the biggest impact. Like, you don't have a reliable, huge AoE stun, but you have that long-range hook. You have that big box of a slow, and he's definitely a top-tier support. Overall, a lot of really good picks did make it through. For example, the Gragas Elise that we see on vVv. And I'm really liking their team so far. They actually did a lot to try and limit Nubby Pooh Bear's choices by banning out 3 mid laners and then going for the Gragas pick. So they wanted him on Ziggs or Syndra most likely, and they definitely got him narrowed down to those picks.
What's funny is Gragas could still go top, and they could still be hiding in the mid pick for Beacon Wolf, if anything. But they do go for Leon Caitlyn, very strong bot lane. We saw it from LMQ last game, and they had a pretty good time against Annie. But this time it's going to be going against Thresh, and Thresh has the favorable matchup against it because, you can flay Leona Zenith Blade if you time it right. And I'm wondering if Ions can do that one, or 1 ounce, whatever you want to call him, but I call him Ions. Can do that one. He's pretty good. He's been around for a while. And looking for the top pick here for iKennyU. Most likely going to be Renekton. Could still go for Shyvana Mundo either way. But we're going to wait for the time to tick down. As Flappy Bearfish most likely going to take the Leona against this matchup. And there is the Renekton.
Yeah, I mean, Gator is going to be the safe pick. Even against Mundo, even against Shyvana, they can beat him in lane. But generally, he will take the more dominant early game. Especially Mundos. We've seen very few Mundos do well versus Renektons lately.
Thorin's Blade's starting to just have a field day. And Jace gets instantly locked in for Chris, so he must know something we don't.
I mean, Jace used to be a hard counter Renekton back in the day. This was a while ago, though, when Jace was much stronger, so...
Yeah, the tier nerfs, how's it going to affect him? If he can't get an early tier and has to get one at, maybe 8 to 7 minutes, that's not really going to be too worth it. But the early harass and farm is going to be able to save for him as he can stand in that range stance. I'm not too sure how it's going to work out. Maybe early ganks will decide that lane. But that's a very interesting pick.
Yeah, I mean, well, it used to be that if Renekton ever moved forward, you would just switch to melee form, hammer him away. If he gets the dice off, it's okay because he's still missing a lot of damage, and you still have that range advantage, so you constantly pepper him with auto attacks. But now he has mana issues. Now the tier is not super powerful. This is a unique pick in the sense that he's not going to build tank. You don't build a tanky Jace. You build for a really high AD build, so it's not a normal top laner. And it can go pretty horribly pretty quickly, especially if Pantheon shows up at the top lane. We'll see how this works out because Chris is a great top laner. He knows his matchups well. When he picks something, it's because he's confident.
All right, and confidence aside, we're going to be going on a quick commercial break. But before that, we'll give a quick shout out to our sponsors. You can check them out down below, all 3 of them. You can see Loot Crate, $13.37 a month. Get a nice crate delivered to your door. The month's most exciting geek apparel, swag, goodies, and t-shirts. t-shirt for this month is going to be Attack on Titanfall themed, so get a bit of anime and mech in one. While also there's Phoenix peripherals, you can check them out down below too. They have the best headset, mics, keyboards, and mouse pads on the market that you can find, phoenixcollection.com, so go check them out. And then there's LOL Class.
Yeah, LOL Class is a great way to learn from some of your favorite LCS and Challenger pros out there. In a small class of you and your peers, you'll go ahead and have a very personal stream with one of the pros who will go through the ins and outs of a champion. For example, we've had Hotshot GG go for a really, really cool in-depth analysis on LeBlanc, how you play LeBlanc, all the combos you can do with LeBlanc, how you exploit LeBlanc to the max, and also how you can beat her in lane. So it's been a really, really cool system. You should go ahead, check out LOL Class. But with that, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. We'll be back in game soon. And when we get back in game, we're going to be showing you guys cognitive gaming going up against vVv.
Welcome back. Excuse
All right,
me.
take two.
Welcome to the North American Challenger League. I am Egad, and joining me here in the studio for game number 3 of Cognitive Gaming, taking on Vision, Valor, and Victory, vVv. You know them all too well. And we're going to get onto the Rift here. And is this going to be an early invade from vVv? I mean, for Cognitive, excuse me?
It looks like it. I mean, this is their full roster. This is essentially their game 1 midway into the season. So let's see what they bust out. They will be spotted out by Chris, but they can go for a sniper around the corner. Death Sentence might be picked up by Ion at level 1, and they can just try and land it over the wall, which it looks like they're going to try and do.
Oh
Chris,
my god, the
I
hook!
think he's out of range.
No, he's not! Oh god, he missed
go.
it just barely. Oh man, to the side, Chris runs away, goes back into hammer form, gets that movement speed, and goes back to the safety of his turret. But the red buff invade might not be done just yet, as they could still look for it.
Volatile Spiraling will spot out, try and scout out the area, but luckily for Cognitive, they haven't moved outside the brush. Chris, there we go, lands a vision.
That will reveal them, and they will be forced to back off, as I like the effort, but, you know, still really hard to go in for an invade at this stage of the well, at this stage of the meta until like they know the nerf, not the nerf, but the delayed timer for wards comes through.
Yeah, and of course, luckily this isn't season 2. If this was
But
season
they're not
2,
done. You know what? They do what they want.
if this was season 2, we'd see Leona running and just completely warning up and just destroying Cognitive jungle. Oh, Chris gets hit.
Chris! That actually pulled him away from the piercing light. He's going to get ignited and forced to flash through the wall there. Are they confident enough to dive him, though? He's so low at this point. They may wait for another hook for Ions and go for the dive. No, he's going to back underneath the turret. But they're going to get the red buff steal successfully away from Get Snuggled. But I think he's going to go for a counter jungle himself after that blue.
I mean, he kind of has to. This is actually a lane swap, though. Renekton already in the bot lane. They really want to avoid that matchup. My guess is it is the Renekton weak lane versus Jace, and they're just not confident going into a lane that's just been – it's been so long since we've seen it, and Jace did used to win that lane way back in the day. So if they're scared of Chris, he has been playing it in solo queue, so it's not a big surprise. This might be their plan, and it works out. They do get the red buff, at least going for the red buff right now. If Cognitive shouldn't be able to pick it up on her own as no one's really in the area to threaten her. In the end, it's going to be buff for buff, but hey, a flash is blown on Chris. They do burn his potion. It makes him a little bit weaker in lane.
All right, so Renekton, no mystery that he can 2v1 pretty well, but the wave is also pushing in the favor of vVv, so Kenny has to go really far in to get some XP and try to keep up in levels against Chris, who's going to be 2v1ing up top. I don't think I've ever really seen a Jace 2v1, but I can only assume without a flash, it's really hard.
Yeah, well, it used to be really common because you would get the early tier, you would spam out, and he had decent push, so it wouldn't be that bad of a lane. But with the nerfs to the tier, and now that he can very easily be killed, if a death sentence lands, he may not die, but he'll be forced to go back to base. So it's definitely possible for him to get picked up and shredded. So that will be the big worry if Chris ever gets hit by anything related to Thresh, because that just sets up everything else from Thresh. And it will be a very easy, just quick burst onto him. Is now Pantheon. This is old school. This is season 3 meta coming into play. Yeah,
junglers going into the respective 2v1s and making it 3v1s as he does miss the cocoon out there from Get Snuggled. Nice dodge from IKU. While Inori just going to zone Chris away all by himself. Level 1 Jace going back to base as Chris, level 2, going to try to hold up this turret. Going to get stun out behind it. Cocoon going to chain after that one. Slice and get caught at the end of it. Going to dice because it does last for quite a while. Gets ignited, but he will be able to get out at the cost of his flash. But first turret of the game with that extra armor still getting pushed down up top while bot getting pushed down below half. So the race is in favor of Cognitive at this point because they have the bigger wave up there, and they should be able to snag it up pretty soon.
Yeah, Chris, of course, can be back in the top lane in a few seconds, but what's he going to do? He has some decent AoE damage, but that's about it. He doesn't even have the full Acceleration Gate Shock Blast combo. He has the Shock Blast on its own. But it looks like it will be turret for turret. A little bit more experience going towards IKU. But because that first turret won't be the biggest deal, they should be going down right about now. There we go. Turret for turret. Very equal across the map. Slight gold lead for vVv, but nothing too major.
That's nothing too bad at all. But that was really interesting. While IKU now going to get jumped on again as they are relentless on the side of vVv. Zenith Blade, Cocoon, Spiderling, and Bite come in from Snuggle to pick up the kill, while it looks like Pekin Wolf was forced to flash body slam away from that mid lane. And oh man, what an interesting early start to this game. We were lulled to sleep by the passive starts of the last few games, but now we're getting the action we wanted.
And actually, really, really good timing on that bot gank, not just because they killed IKU, but they also got that post 4-minute maximum gold. That wasn't the reduced first blood gold that you get if you get it early enough. That was full gold effect, a lot more money going towards vVv. Now they have a 1-point or 800 gold advantage.
Oh, they're actually diving. Inori, Flash Cocoon not in time. Inori's going to be able to block out one of those turret shots. A beautiful satchel to get Snuggled off of him, and they get that successful dive and take down Pekin Wolf in the mid lane, snagging the kill over to, Liquid Inori got that one. So interesting play, and it pays off. That block from Pantheon passive, blocking away turret shots. It's pretty good.
It's an amazing pass. We've seen it use a great effect all the time. It is huge for those early dives. And of course, Gragas, he was trying to bait that out. They were trying to use the Elise backup to secure a kill on the Pantheon when he did go for the dive. But Gragas was just a bit too low, got in range to that Pantheon crit, and at that point, it's just one auto attack to go down in those early game engagements. The Fat Man, he's pretty beefy. He's pretty tanky with his Drunken Rage passive, but nothing stops the Heartseeker Strike crit damage.
Nothing can stop that at all, indeed. We do see the two-man push in the mid lane while Nabuhar goes back. Meanwhile, Chris has been left alone up top for quite a while. Looks like the lane swap is going to come back in here as they are going to send Flappy Bearfish and Ions back down to that bottom lane as Pantheon's finishing up some golems, and we're going to see, I wonder if Gaunty and Tails are going to go lane swap as well, or maybe they're still confident, but without a tier 1 turret in the bot lane, they could overextend, and that could signal a big Inori gank, but not Pantheon.
Oh, definitely. They have to go back to base just to buy anyways, because if they go bot lane without having bot, they'd have a disadvantage between a Vampiric Scepter. And now they have the BF sword advantage. They have a little bit less sustain on Caitlyn in the bot lane. But it doesn't matter because Tails, if he actually lands auto attacks, will do a whole lot more damage than Lucian can. Though Lucian does have his really high damage combo. So it will come down to a lot of the CC and a lot of burst. It looks like Leona's kind of roaming towards the jungle, just going to put some wards down. Has that Sightstone now.
Ooh, nice pink.
It gets a catch in the ward. That will be spotted out by Gaunty, though. They can just try and clear that out right away if they feel Pantheon isn't in the area. And it looks like they're going to go ahead and ward up Dragon. Are they actually starting that up right now over on the side of...
No, they're waiting for Elise. They have to.
There we go.
Elise,
there we go.
They back out. They're pinging another tri-brush. They're going to look to see if Ions is over there. Spot him up with a ward if they do place it. But either way, Dragon not going to be started just yet. Pantheon is in the area. Well, you know, this matchup up top, very poke heavy in favor of Chris, so using that Jace to his advantage. But the flank now coming in from Ions, as it doesn't look like he hit the Death Sentence, but they're fighting down there, looking for the Flay, does get both members now. Auto attacks coming in, they drop the ward in the brush. Gaunty gets poked out heavily and will be forced back, but Elise is out in the fight as she's looking to come in. Ignite gets dropped down by Chris up top there. Not doing all that much damage. Hits the Shock Blast through the acceleration, get to chunk that one through. Death Sentence goes in on the Tails. Elise is nowhere near, and they're going to get all the damage they can. Ardent Blaze comes through, but a nice 90 caliber net. They try to pursue this one down. Oh, Lantern. What is he pulling in? Oh, there's the Pantheon. Force the flash out. He stuns them up. Spears come through. Ignite gets dropped, and one more auto from Flappy. Secures the kill, while the Mega Infernal Bomb comes in from mid lane, but does not hit. Actually did hit Tails, and he's forced to walk back to base instead. Pekin Wolf and Snuggled coming down, though. This is a huge way for them to pick up. Pekin Wolf might just ult it. No, it just barrels it. Body slams towards. Oh, there's a nice Death Sentence coming in. Stun to chain that one up. Explosive cast to disengage as much as possible. But meanwhile, Barrel pokes Ion so hard out there. Ziggs run the prey too, and they're forcing them back. Get Snuggled. If he doesn't get any backup very soon, that could signal a dead turret in the bot lane, but everybody actually dangerously low on Cog side too, so they're all back. That turret's fine.
Actually, going towards the Dragon, really seems like only Thresh is the person who has to get out of there, has no HP, has no mana. He's effectively just free gold in a team fight right now. But the other three members aren't strong enough. However, Leona and Elise back in the area. Leona did have a chance to heal up, and Elise really didn't take any damage in the first place, so trying to stop this Dragon.
Turning, Satchel Charge doesn't hit through the repel, though. Snuggle comes back in on the other side. Ion's looking for a Death Sentence, cannot find it. Gaunty's still their main focus. Cocoon to disengage from Rubby Pooh Bear. Ultimate Peacemaker comes in from Tails. And they need to disengage here from the side of Cognitive. They're so dangerous, though. Pekin Wolf comes in the barrel, forces out 3 flashes with 1 barrel. Or actually 2 flashes, excuse me, with 1 barrel. And now Dragon pressure in favor of vVv.
I mean, they stayed a bit too long. Elise, of course, got enough poke, delayed the Dragon for long enough to actually go ahead and turn that around. They did get a lot of damage on the bottom turret. They did get that extra kill, so slight advantage in favor of that for Cognitive, but that Dragon definitely evens it up and puts vVv in a slight lead as Chris thinks in a little bit of danger versus Brunch U now.
Brunch U? You mean Kenny
Or
U?
Kenny U. Too many U's, too many U's.
Brunch, where are you? Hello? And Chris forced the flash away over the wall. Gonna be able to get out. He's got blue buff and acceleration gate. There we go. Changes forms as well. And heads back up to that nice big juicy wave up top.
That is, of course, the Jace advantage. It has a lot of just movement from the acceleration gate. Can outrun most champions, even Renekton with the slice and dice. And, of course, burn the flash there. He had to because of Ziggs pressure, but if not, he was just going to run right out of that jungle. Overall, though, pretty even across the map. Jace has an advantage from CS.
Tails got caught out. He's forced to flash. There's the Pantheon ultimate coming in for the rest of the gank. Can he get the stun on the Tails? He needs a little bit more range. There it goes. Spear comes out. Crit goes through, and Inori will pick up that kill while the Flay lands into the Gaunty. The box and the Mega Infernal Death Bomb. Death Sentence to connect, and everything just on point there while Ion's almost falling through the turret. Rubby Pooh Bear ignited an explosive cast on the side. Can he get away? One more auto attack will secure it for Pekin Wolf, but now he's stuck in the pit. He'll probably body slam over the wall. Ion's going to go clear out that ward. And Pekin Wolf looks like he actually got away there. And that'll be a 2-for-1 globally. But Pekin Wolf picking up a kill on that mid lane Greg is pretty strong.
Yeah, of course, once Gragas gets that ball rolling, that explosive cast combo is absolutely devastating. You can see a chase onto Kenny U up in the top part of the map. Chris, of course, trying to hunt him down. That Gator is getting himself in a lot of trouble, but it's so hard for Chris to reliably go for the all-in just because Renekton can train that out. So if he just goes for the poke, Renekton just backs out of that fight. And it looks like Renekton now trying to go ahead and help defend that mid turret. Ziggs is down, has an ultimate when he does respawn, so it should be going down pretty safely.
Whoa, Pops Dominus gets stunned up. There's a Lantern for a bit of a shield. He's going to slice and dice forward. But Inori now going to dive down bot onto Tails. He's going to take a bunch of damage, looking to block it up. The Culling going to be able to pick up one. No, he just cancels it, get the extra auto attacks. Gaunty now with red buff going to be able to chase down Richie Rich, slowed him down, popping the solar flare. He's underneath turret, perfectly played by Gaunty to take that down and make it a 2-for-1. Really questionable dive by Cognitive though, as I don't know if that was really worth it.
I'm not really sure what they were going for is the issue, because I mean, Pantheon was going to die no matter what there, just because of Leon and his damage. Tails had to get one auto attack off, and that was the end of Pantheon. And really, it was going to be at best a 1-for-1, but they kind of messed up there. Possibly they could have had Flappy Bearfish escape through the river with the dash, but that was on cooldown. Overall, just a little bit too excited with that play. They were ahead in the bot lane a little bit, 2-1-2 on Lucian versus 0-2-1 on Caitlyn, but not a massive lead, not enough to justify that dive. Regardless, though, 700 gold lead in favor of vVv. Mid turret still survives. I think vVv meant to go ahead, push that down, then turn on a Renekton, but turned a little bit too early and actually didn't take down that mid turret. Does have only about 100 or 200 so HP left, so still pretty even across the map.
What are you doing, Ions? I was like, wait, who else is there? And then I saw Lucian coming in.
I mean, death sentences have been landing all game onto Tails. And if they do connect, with that Lucian now having that Bloodthirster, that is incredibly high burst damage. They can shred Caitlyn to bits. Thing is, they can't do that underneath the turret with just Pantheon and Lucian with Leona backup. But Tails gonna be zoned out for a bit. He cannot CS reliably against that really dominant lane.
And if we look at the items, Chris rushed for Boots of Lucidity, so looking for some extra early cooldown reduction, as well as the tier that he's stacking up. Ooh, I can almost stopping that back up there, but cannot find it. And he'll just go back to clearing waves while the mid push is going on. They can't really find all that much damage, but Ziggs is really good at pushing it, gets that infused passive, and gets the extra magic damage on the turret. So slowly but surely looking to push it down. Blue buff going to get tossed over to Pekin Wolf, and we'll see how he utilizes that for the next possible fight that he could go for. Dragon's going to be coming up in a few minutes, and that could be a next big fight for either side. But ICanEU still applying pressure to Chris.
The question is, what are the plans for both teams? Cognitive, how are they going to try and take advantage of the top lane being down and the really big advantage right now being on Pantheon? They can go for the big team fights. The issue is Pantheon and big team fights tends to get blown up, but pickoffs like this tend to be huge.
Oh man drop on top. Chris going to go down. ICanEU picks up that kill with a simple auto attack. And that's the dangerous threat of Pantheon, global pressure. And with that, they should actually be able to pick up the tier 2 there. There's still a big respawn timer on Chris, about 10 seconds left. And he's going to have to try to rush his way back to that lane. Peak Wolf not rotating, jungler is still bot. And that's going to be pretty rough, especially with Pantheon on top. They can't really stop Elise from ganking bot, who could loop around and possibly look for a dive on Nubby Pooh Bear, who is getting poked out. That turret's dangerous, so though one more auto attack, a little smack to that will take it out. As Elise is waiting patiently, the tier 2 up top does go down. Look at them right next to each other. It's like if
For a second, it looked like Ziggs was waving at her.
He's like, hi, Elise, don't kill me, please.
About that, it's going to be a hard escape. You can see a lot of people rotating. The ace in the hole might be enough to help secure it with an Elise stun.
No, the coup connected. The barrel comes through, ace in the hole, and the Spiderling from it gets able to secure that kill on Nubby Pooh Bear. It looked like they were trying to give it the tails, but that barrier just mitigated a lot of damage on Nubby Pooh Bear's side. A pause comes out, not sure why, but possibly some lag. But either way, this game, now there's Nubby Pooh Bear, a little bit of lag on him.
That gank was so effective, it knocked Nubby Pooh Bear out of the game.
Knocked his internet out.
That's a real way to actually go for the ganks. You gank them in the internet and see how they respond. Overall, though, this has actually been a pretty solid game from Cognitive Gaming, just because the past few games we've seen have been a lot less solid. They've definitely been having some trouble lately. So it is cool to see them, even if it's not the best game of their lives, they're staying even. They still have a really good fighting chance. Really, a lot of this is coming off of Pantheon. Some great play in the jungle so far from Cognitive.
All right, so they're just going to say they're going to pause. It's going to be okay. We'll come back when Nubby Pooh Bear connects back in. A little bit of, internet issues happens to everybody. But this game still surprisingly even, only 600 gold lead for vVv. And they do have the first dragon, so that's why. And it'll be coming up in 40 seconds, so that could be the next big point. Nubby Pooh Bear reconnected, so we should be getting back into the game very soon. And either way, this is looking pretty interesting, because Athenes is finished for Pekin Wolf. Athenes was not rushed out by Nubby. He went for Sork Shoes, so looking for that early extra penetration. But you're seeing it not pay off, because now Gragas is just infinitely spamming him into the turret.
Yeah.
And he took the tier 1 now, possibly looking for some pressure now on the Dragon, as they will get some pink wards and wards up.
I'm expecting a lot of just gank-focused pressure from Cognitive. They can go for the big team fights, but their big snowball right now is going to be on Pantheon, and he's not tanky yet. He has Spear the Elder Lizard, has a Ruby Crystal, but he's not really a beefy brawler yet. That's really what you're looking for on when it comes to the initiation. He can kill someone. He can kill this Elise, no problem, with the help of his team.
Stun comes through from them, and they stack it up, looking for the flash to the wall. They do get it. Flash Flay comes in. Is he going to pop the box? He gets stunned up. Explosive cast. Ignite's going to pick up the kill there. Looking for whatever he can before he dies. Ignite gets dropped out there by Gaunty to just stop them from chasing from the side of Cog. And that's a 1-for-1 trading support for junglers, so kind of a little bit more in the favor of Cognitive. But that was really weird.
That was just the Gragas burst. That was a really good escape from Elise, delaying long enough to get to her team. Even though she does go down, they were able to delay long enough so Gragas could land his AoE onto 3 targets like that, forcing the groupage. And now with Dragon back up, because so much damage came out from Gragas onto Pantheon, onto the rest of Cognitive, there's a lot of people back at base, and this Dragon should be pretty secure if they do rotate towards it.
All right, Pekin showing himself, going to scare away Flappy Bearfish, but Gaunty was already there to cut him off. Everything's going to end up connecting. He's going to use the Pursuit. He's going to flash to the Zenith Blade. Everybody's there. There's no way he can get out. He turns around, tries to fight, and face his imminent demise. And that should set up pretty well for Dragon, as all 5 members against 4 of Cognitive should be able to snag this one away, unless we get a man-drop steal from Inori, who does have that ultimate available.
And unfortunately, if he goes in, he probably will die, but hey, you know what?
If he gets the Dragon, it's worth.
This is the Dragon trade. You want to give up only 1 kill for the Dragon, giving up 2 or 3.
He's dropping in really early.
He's not going to get. Wait,
there we go. Can he get it? Oh, he cannot get it. He gets knocked away from the Lantern as well. Forced the flash over the wall. Instead, Dragon goes over to get snuggled. That's their second one of the game, and that was really well coordinated by vVv to just disengage after they sell the circle. They
disengage, and they also coordinated their damage on Dragon at the very end by getting the Gragas Explosive Cask timed with the Elise Smite. Like, that was also incredibly well coordinated. They were not only ready for that man drop, they were ready to deny the man drop, to deny the Lantern, and to actually secure their own burst damage to actually lock down that Dragon. So very, very well played by vVv. That's actually incredibly difficult to do, especially when you have to know champion incredibly well when it comes to cast animations and projectile speeds as a jungler, and you have to be able to be communicating quite well. But with that, 1.4k gold lead for vVv. Inch by inch, they're clawing their way to a higher lead, but nothing too massive. It's going to start coming into play if we start seeing some big items finished on Chris. He does have that Mana Moon, but not quite the Mura Mana yet. And Gragas, while he does have really high burst, actually Gragas burst is insane at this point with the Athenes and Large Rod he has in his inventory. They can start going for the really hard team fights, and Gragas will eliminate someone like Ions or just force out Fluffy Bearfish right away.
Being eliminated, Chris forced the flash away. We'll get it out there by IKNU for the kill. And looking for more. Gaunty's going to be there to scare them away a little bit. Shining bright like a star. And he will just move forward. Going to look for possibly anything else. Pekin Wolf is there. Solar Flare. Going to end up connecting there onto Inori. Xenoblade does not connect though. Nice sidestep with the body slam. And the stun from Inori, trying to juke away from anything he can. Explosive Cast will secure that kill. Gaunty's looking for more, but it seems like no, back up. You're done here. And they will secure it and make it a 1-for-1, turning top for jungle there. So a little bit of nice rotation for vVv to just clean up Chris's dive. And the tier 1 in the mid lane will end up falling 4 turrets to 2 in favor of Cognitive. So those turrets are really helping keep them up in that gold disadvantage.
Yeah, it's a 2-turret lead right now for Cognitive. They've played the push game. I think that's giving them all team-wide gold, which can be effective, but I think in vVv, their major threat is Gragas right now, and he's getting farmed quite well. Caitlyn doing a little bit worse than Lucian, so no massive advantage for either side in terms of AD carries. But it's just that, like, Nubby Pooh Bear, he's doing well on Ziggs, but when the enemy AP carry starts getting ahead, at Ziggs, it takes a lot more gold to contribute quite as much, and it's also not as reliable.
The bait. Snuggle is there with Chris. Trying to make IKNU pay for what he did to Chris solo. Making it a 2v1, possibly, if they can do that. But,
no flash, no dominance. He will be very squishy for this fight.
Oh, but Pantheon's going to counter up this one. This is what he's born for. It's going to be the jump back in while IKNU is running away, and he's going to end up falling to Elise there. Mega Inferno Bomb does come through, but does not find its mark while Pantheon is chasing down with Chris. Jace able to actually be mobile and run away, and Kite from this one throws out the spear, but it's not enough, and gets Snuggle with the Venom's Bite. Will pick up the double kill, while Pekin Wolf, what are you doing on the other side of the base there? The culling lays in, but not able to find the kill. Bouncing Bomb comes through. Turret shot, is it going to be enough? He flashes it, but the turret shot comes through on the body slam. He's able to dodge away, while Chris and gets Snuggled head up top to push down that tier 1. Gragas is still making the great escape. The Lantern comes in from Lucian. Destinus does not connect, and wow, Pekin Wolf going to be able to make it out of this one?
A trap might actually secure his escape with the help of Tails, and that escape path, he went through their mid second tier turret. That is a Gragas mobility in effect. That is actually the Athenes playing a huge role right there, as it gave him that low enough body slam cooldown to actually escape that. And he survives a 2 for none and a lot of wasted time by Cognitive chasing down the fat man. Because, yeah, they chased him down for so long, they were able to secure that tier 1 turret top. Bottom got pushed in by Caitlyn, and mid actually has a really strong push in favor of Cognitive. That's because the lane's been unattended for so long. No one's been getting any of the CS mid lane, so very, very well played by vVv. Peckinwolf, he's got the fat man moves, and what you can do when you're playing someone that big, it's incredibly, incredibly solid.
That was, wow, so well played. Dragon's coming in about a minute and 50, so nothing crazy going to go on over there. Still the pink ward in there for Gaunty. And no vision from side of Cognitive, but with this full real roster for Cognitive, they're showing a lot of potential.
They got some fight in them this time.
Not getting 19-minute rolled over, but
I mean that was the issue before. It's not that they were playing poorly; it's they were outright losing in the first few minutes of the game. And this time they're definitely showing they're equal when it comes to the late game decision making. I mean, we'll see how this goes. They do have a lot of older names on their team, like Nubby Pooh Bear, like Flappy Bearfish. They have really solid players. Will that come into effect late game, or do they still need to mesh and try to grow as a team? So it's going to be rough for them no matter what, just because that is that new team syndrome. But they definitely have a lot of potential, and as their play improves, it's so much more fun watching them now versus the sub games or the 2-minute singed tanking the turret, trying to cut the wave.
Goes towards the turret and be level 1 and potion trail, run out of mana and health and die. And,
that goes through the turret while tanking 2 champions that see me going through the turret and then die before I kill any minions. I love ICANN, but that was a very silly play yesterday.
Oh, man. I think you learned from that helmet probably do it again. Let's get singed and actually get to a real position to proxy climb. But Chris, now bot, holding it all. I don't really know how stacked up his Manamune is, or Manamune. He's got Brutalizer, he's got 25% CDR with the boost of lucidity, so going to be doing a good job with that one, looking for the extra CDR. And I wonder if he's going to go for Black Cleaver, or if he's going to go for BT, or something crazy like a GA or Randuin's, or is he going to be tanky? Because if he's not going to get tanky, it's going to be only get Snuggled, who's going to be the tank line, and they could get run over from the side of vV with that Renekton, but I don't know, Descendants.
It's so hard to lock down a Jace comp if they're playing mobile, just because Acceleration Gate means you can disengage so well. It would be a really good Pantheon ult needed to lock them down. Or if they commit to this team fight right here.
Ooh, Cocoon,
they're looking for the poke. They're just looking for that harass. They don't want to all in. Because like you said, they don't have that full tank line. They don't have a lot of hard CC either. It's the Alistan and Leona for the more reliable hard CCs. But when it comes to the big AoE lockdown, they do have the big AoE knock around from Gragas' ultimate. But that can be a little bit less than reliable sometimes.
Descendant's going to come out, not connect. They're still doing this little dragon dance, as it is a big objective for both sides to get that one. He's going to aggro dragon with a bouncing bomb from Nubby Pooh's side. And Pantheon going to push out the wave down pot, make sure that doesn't go any further towards their side. And Dragon has been initiated here. Man drop comes through, but it's a little too late, as he will be going down onto Gaunty. Stuns him up, and Mega Inferno Bomb only hits get snuggled. There's a Soul Flare on top of ICANN, but Nubby Pooh picks up the kill on Gaunty. Ions is going to be ignited and forced to get away, but will not actually be able to get away, while Chris going to help double kill go over to get snuggled. Barrel from Peking Wolf picks up Nubby Pooh Bear. They're going to look to possibly flash over this. Or barrel slam. All right, body slam going to come up very soon. While Chris goes in by himself, he gets crit down by Inori. Tails is dangerously low. Going to be going into the back line. Flappy Bearfish trying to 1v2. This one flashes forward to dodge away from the barrel, but cannot pick up the kill on Peking Wolf. Even with red buff taken away, that passive to heal him is just too strong. And that'll be an ace in favor of vVv, as it was a 2 for 5.
I mean, vVv, they had perfect positioning. Who got hit by the initial CC? Who was getting hooked in to the cognitive lineup from Thresh? It was Gaunty. And Gaunty just sat there, took all the damage. That is perfectly acceptable as Leona, because he got the ult off, he got his initial stun off, and he died. He got bursted down first before anybody else in the fight died. They wasted so much time killing Gaunty, as Pekin will barely pick up this blue buff, and really barely. That was getting a little bit close there.
The Golem's like, I'll do it, I'll kill you, but he cannot.
But Gaunty took so much focus as the rest of vVv cleaned up the front line from Cognitive that, well, everyone else at vVv was at full HP. They had no front line. They just chased down and blew up the rest of Cognitive. Plus, those early barrels had landed already. Nubby Pooh Bear had taken a lot of damage. Really cool poke fight from vVv, and then really solid positioning, because they really only have 2 tanky members, like you said, Elise and Leona.
Whoa, why did he stop hitting that red buff? I guess they're going to give it to Tails. I assume they're going to give it to Tails.
Yeah, you would much rather have it on the 650 range. Caitlyn rather than Jace, who does have much shorter range, even in range form. But, you know, Leona, she's tanky for a good 3 seconds, 3 to 6 seconds, depending on whether you get the passive proc on her W. And that's enough. That's enough right now. Eventually, Leona will just get destroyed, like Thresh would. Thresh is getting annihilated in team fights. Leona doesn't get that tanky because you don't get that much gold on her. But they're really using that early game tankiness to the max. Oh, Ions is gone.
Snipe coming through, and bam! With that light passive from Leona, it procs the extra damage and gets the kill over to Tails. So nice synergy with the CC. Lockdown to take down Ions. And they're going to be able to clear up this Baron pit as well as around the Baron. I don't know if they're going to go for it. Little too early still, but maybe a blue steal is in the order. As ICANNEU tries to start that one up, but cannot get it. And I think they're going to actually be able to get this one up over to Chris. If they can get that to him, that's really good. While Tails is going to get blown up here by Nubby Pooh Bear. One more auto. The culling comes in and a flash. No, it wasn't a flash. He just walked forward with the net. But they're going to chase down onto Lucian as he's forced to run away with that pursuit. Gets the art in Blaze. Gaunty maybe not giving this one up. Descendant's not going to connect there. And behind him, he misses the Solar Flare. Going to be the Lancer to pull him to the other side. The hand drop is coming in from the side as well. Flappy Bearfish takes the Lancer a little bit later. Going to die in the end to get snuggled. Gaunty's going to fall over to ICANNEU. vVv kind of all the way extended into the other side of the map as they're going to kite away from this as much as possible. Oh, they're trying to bait him towards Chris, and Peking Wolf with get snuggled, but this tier 2 should go down. That was a 3 for 2 in their favor, so looking for more map pressure as they will try to snag up their 4th third of the game, and there it goes.
And this is incredibly strong pushing power from vVv. They have Chris playing the Jace, which is an extra 80 carry in terms of damage on turrets. Turrets, of course, don't take crit damage, and Jace does have that incredibly powerful attack speed boost on his W, so he will destroy turrets just incredibly quickly. So if they get even just a small victory like that, they got chased away from that objective very fast by Cognitive, but they only need a good 5 to 10 seconds to take down a turret, and that is how quickly they will take objectives and take control of the map, just because they have the extra 80 carry in Chris for pushing potential. And I gotta say, I really love how they're exerting their advantage, because they chased down Flappy Bearfish for such a long time. I thought he was gone. I thought he was going to be safe, but they just kept going for him because they know they have enough tankiness on Leona and Elise, and enough burst damage on Chris and Gragas where they can actually just keep going forward like that, even though that was a long extended chase, and they still missed, I believe, 2 or 3 skills on Leona, using it towards Flappy Bearfish.
That Solar Flare missing is pretty key, but either way, they claim the kills, and they're 3 dragons ahead to the 0 of Cognitive, and looking strong. They have some big items built up there. Banshee's Veil for Snuggled. Going to stop some of that bouncing bomb damage, as well as looking for a Void Staff on Peking Wolf. That's going to be the next big power spike for him. Pink wards all over the place, littering that Baron pit side, and control going over to them. Either way, though, everybody backing out, and with the 7.8k gold lead for vVv, they're feeling strong, confident how those extra items, and Tails almost has his Infinity's Edge, skipping out on the Last Whisper, noticing that they're not really building too much armor.
Now, what a lot of teams would do with this lineup right now.
Wow, yeah. 20 minutes. Oh, 28 minutes. That's 3 edges complete.
That's a lot of gold. That's very, very damaging, Caitlyn.
Wow.
But what a lot of teams would do right now is they would just go straight down the mid lane with his really poke-oriented comp and just start sieging turrets. And they can do that over on the side of vVv, but there's always that big fear of what if Pantheon gets the initiate? Because you can't stop a Pantheon initiation. You can deny an Amumu Bandage Toss. You can deny a lot of things. You cannot stop the Pantheon ult from off-screen. So what they're going to most likely do is what they've been doing so far, which is just using the acceleration gate and going for lots of pickoffs. Because they have so much damage, they have so much burst just between Jace, Elise, and Gragas, that anybody who gets hit by any slow or any CC while being chased down, they're going to get blown up so quickly. Just because Explosive Cask, Body Slam, and a barrel right now is easily doing over 1,200 damage.
Yeah, and as you see, more wards getting cleared out, and Dragon Pressure being asserted. 10 seconds left on that one, while Ions gets blown up right there. I don't know what the combo was, but it just hurt like hell, and he was forced to go back to base and heal up. He's got mobility boots with home guards, so we're going to heal up to full very quickly and try to get out of the base. But the Dragon is live, and it is going to go over to vVv very decisively, as that'll be their 4th Dragon of the game, and they will have that nice 9,000 gold lead.
With this gold lead, they're just getting so strong. You mentioned Caitlyn already having 3 items, which is massive. Those crits are going to be devastating. Because she crits often because of her attack speed, her crit chance, and now the Infinity Edge will just make those crits hurt so much more. Muramana now finished on Chris as well, which really amplifies his damage. He hasn't been getting blue buffs because a lot of them go towards Peckinwolf, so if they actually get map control and can get that blue buff towards Chris, That will give him incredibly high sustain.
Oh,
and
no, Ions.
There he goes.
The crit for the finale of that kill, and having a bit of a rough time here. Getting caught out in awkward positions and then getting bursted at awkward times. Completely shut down from doing his job in that warding. But now, Pant Drop going to come in onto Chris. He's going to be forced to run away. Ardent Blaze did not connect there. Flash over the wall, comes in a little aggressive, gets knocked back to disengage. Mega Inferno Bomb going to come in from Nubby but it's not enough. The culling from Flappy Bearfish always is kind of the wrong angle there, but the barrel comes in and one more auto attack will do it. He's trying to sustain through this one. He actually flashes and sustains away. Explosive cast. The trap is going to hold him in position for that one as Pekin Wolf will find it and go unstoppable. And that turret going to be taking down a few more auto attacks from Tails, and there we go. And a little interesting, almost surviving there from Flappy Bearfish. Those mechanics are on point, but now here we have Inori getting chased down by Get Snuggled. And Chris coming in from the side, going to knock him back in. A little miscoordination there, dodges away from the cocoon, but either way, Chris will pick up that kill with the passive and the last auto attack. So.
I mean, did you see Chris interrupting that stun from Pantheon
Yep.
with a knockback? That's
He didn't interrupt the stun, it connected, and then just like, no, get off me.
Some nice animation buffering there, but of course Chris keeping himself alive with that really solid knockback. I believe you can interrupt the stun, but it's one of those almost impossible to time things. Yeah, you have to predict them going for the stun before they themselves think they're going to go for the stun, which can be difficult in quite a few situations, mostly all of them. But Chris now, I love the burst. I just love Chris's damage right now because he can 100% a lot of the Swisher champions like Flappy Bearfish, like Ions. They will just not survive the full-on Jace combo, especially if he does have Ignite up. But they are still susceptible to Pantheon initiation. They can still get blown up. Everybody is still pretty squishy over on vVv. Even Elise, who is going to be the tankier champion because she is the tanky jungler, she has a Haunting Guise. That's a lot of gold going towards a non-tank item. And 914 helps make up for that, so definitely has some gold left lying around. But Getsuggled is not the tankiest champion out there. He's not that full-built tank Mundo, that full-built tank Shyvana. So their front line is relatively weak compared to most normal frontline lineups. I want to see if Cognitive, they can catch one person out of position, or if they even go for a hard engage, they might be able to win it just by the sheer fact that they will have a tanky Gator. They will have a little bit, I'd say, as tanky Pantheon. And they can really go for that full-on fight and possibly survive. Or vVv might just pick up Baron with Cognitive not in the area whatsoever.
Nirmana, there's a Super Mega Inferno Bomb, but not going to be enough. And Smite comes through as Snuggled. Will secure that one for vVv's side. First bat of the game, over to vVv. And now, possibly, Inhibitor Push going to come through for them. Blue buff on Jace with that Miramana active, going to do a ton of damage when those autos do connect and spells. So
I'm not feeling this cog because this is now the perfect siege comp because even if Pantheon goes in, the damage just from Gragas himself is enough to stop the man drop more or less. And when it comes to the siege, they have to dodge the Acceleration Gate Shock Blast combo. They have to dodge Gragas's barrels. Caitlyn built over Peacemakers, and Elise Cocoon can land, which sets up everything else to land. That's a very, very easy snipe coming out from vVv. So Cognitive, if you got to make a play, you got to make a play the second that push comes to shove, because if not, your inhibitor turrets are going to go down so quickly.
All right, Tier 2's looking to go down very quickly here. Chris joining the party. Tails going to be able to beat into these turrets. Chris is actually fairly tanky now with that Spectre's Cowl. He's looking for a Banshee's Veil. Mines and Bouncing Bombs galore going to come in from Nubby Poo Rare, but not enough to stop vVv's push, as they now look to make their objective in their home in that top lane. The sustain from Baron is going to make these pushes so easy for them. But Shock Blast need to connect, as well as barrels from Gragas. And there's one hitting on a Flappy Bearfish.
It doesn't take a whole lot of poke to force someone back to base. Luckily, Flappy Bearfish does have sustain. Decent wave clear coming out from Cognitive as well between Ziggs and Lucian. Very easy pickups as Gragas does get hit by the death sentence, but no follow-up. It's a bit too scary to go on the Fat Man. Because if he survives that burst, he'll probably turn around and kill whoever jumped on him.
He survives the burst, and he'll put the burst back out in response. So
it's just using Bide.
Exactly.
Stores that damage and saves it up for later. Looks like a disengage coming out from vVv. Leona might be going back for a major item as she's the one retreating. And I would expect a lot of gold right now to be on the banks. Yeah, it's a lot of gold all across vVv. Leona with almost 2k gold herself, which, I mean, for a support, that's pretty damn solid. Oh, man drop coming out, though.
Oh, where's he going to go for it? Looks like Tails. They're using two ultimates on that one. The bomb is not going to end up connecting out there from Tails, but... all right. I guess two ultimates used out there.
It scares them off. I mean, you can't blame them for going for the play. It just didn't work out, unfortunately. They need a 4v5. They need to give themselves as big an advantage as possible because vVv, they're coming in. They're looking very, very powerful. They have 14,000 gold in their favor. They have the Baron buff to make themselves so much stronger, and they're looking to win a fight, win the game. Lock up the Iron Slaughter now finished on to Gonti. So now even Leona's definitely towards that super tank status when she does have her shield up. So this is going to be incredibly dangerous if you do go for the extended siege. Look for barrels, look for acceleration gate shock blast combos, look for built over peacemakers, look for any skill shot over on the side of vVv that isn't an ultimate, just looking to pick someone off, deal some damage. And even then, Gragas can still toss out his ultimate to try and blow someone up.
Yeah, oh man, at this point, almost full builds for vVv side. So crazy the damage that they're going to put out. And another BF sword was picked up for Tails. Is he going to go for Mercurial Scimitar next? Is that going to be his next big thing? Maybe another Bloodthirster? Possible there. Maybe another IE, you know.
I could see a second Bloodthirster. So far, they haven't really had enough damage to burst down Tails necessarily, but get him down really, really low. So that Bloodthirster would be enough to even that out. But Mercurial Scimitar would be nice for the Pantheon stun, for Renekton stun, and of course Death Sense.
All right, we'll see. But either way, they got another dragon. They're just suffocating the map slowly away from Cognitive and warding them out. Baron available for a few more seconds. Going to fade very soon. But they're backing off. They're going to go by, and very interesting to see them not sieging down.
It is.
I don't know.
They could be scared of the Pantheon, but they also are doing something smart. They're taking control of every other objective on the map.
Yep.
So they've taken out all the turrets, outer turrets. They've taken out dragons. So they're getting a lot more gold with this Baron buff besides the initial Baron gold by taking more objectives and denying total map control to Cognitive. Thing is, Cognitive is still getting those minions will still go down the lanes. They'll still go to the farm, the bank for Cognitive. So they're not really missing out on that much necessarily. However, it just takes one good fight and Cognitive are completely out of the game.
And there's the Scimitar. All right, so Mercurial Scimitar was the pick up there. And next, you're going to see him sell his Doran's Blade for something big. Last Whisper. He's missing that. He's got all the BF sword items at this point. Just needs the Last Whisper, and the build will be complete unless he wants to forego that item completely.
And there is some decent armor. Renekton does have Randuin in the making, same thing with Pantheon. So I'd expect the Last Whisper to come out just to help chunk them down, as taking out the front line is going to be something Caitlyn will excel at this point, just because the front line for Cognitive is not very tanky towards physical carries. They only have that Warden's Mail for physical-only defense. Both Pantheon and Renekton are very, very squishy in this context versus someone like Caitlyn.
Alright, but Caitlyn is still pretty squishy herself. We do see them catching out Icanu there, a ton of damage getting burst in. He slices over the wall, flash from Chris to respond. Solar Flare does not end up connecting, so they're going to switch their targeting onto Inori, as he's going to get the cocoon towards Icanu, but they successfully actually escape that, burning actually nothing from the side of Cognitive, while flash from Chris and ultimate from Leona was spent.
That cooldown from Leona's ultimate isn't too long. Should be up in a good 40 seconds. And they're still going for the poke. They're going for the chase. If they can land a Gragas ultimate on anybody, they're going down for Cog. And Cog, they're going to have to deal with this major siege right now with 2 members going back to heal right now.
Oh boy, so man drop available for him either way. Kenny can home guard back in, if anything. 1:20 left on the Baron, but vVv looking to focus their attention onto this bot inhibitor. But pushing on a Ziggs, we've said it before, very, very annoying.
There are mines, there are bombs, there are a lot of things. There's a lot of damage on Nori, actually. Does not get taken down. Close to it, though.
All right, bomb's going to be laid in there. The turret's going to take a bunch of damage and fall very quickly as Tails gets poked out. We're going to see a flash rover from Gonti. Solar Flare does not end up connecting, force the flash out of him. While the inhibitor turret does go down, calling to try to zone them out and do a bunch of damage to them as well. We do see the box come through, and they do end up taking down to get snuggled. Icanu trying to slice and dice his way forward, but the acceleration gate so fast, so annoying to get past.
That is, it's such a good disengage and actually sets them up to kite that fight out. Like, imagine if they kept fighting and chasing that, Dan. They would get destroyed by the Caitlyn poke and the Gragas barrels. But they got the kill. They do lose their inhibitor turret. There isn't a Baron buff, so the region's not amazing for vVv, but they're pretty limited. Might go disengage, could try and go for some more poke, but overall Baron is up in 15 seconds. I'd say that's their next big objective, their next big choice.
That could also be game-changing, too, for Cognitive. If they can get towards it, maybe pick up some kills or possibly bait something out. If they can get some good wards off, then we could see a possible turnaround in the game. Baron Steel will be pretty big for them as well. But we'll see. We'll wait to see how the evolution of the Baron warding and stage of this game goes. No inhibitor down bot, so no super minions to worry about. And with Elise spawning, they can just head right on over to it.
And something nice for a COG is they don't have to worry about vVv going for a hard split push because that just becomes Pantheon territory.
Yeah.
Where that solo split pusher gets caught out, and they don't have anybody who's that effective at it. Jace is okay at it, but they'll hunt him down. They'll catch a Jace if you're using Pantheon ultimate generally, especially since his flash is on cooldown, and they do know it for Cognitive. This Baron though, they're ready for it. They're revved up for it. Both sides know it could be going down soon, and Cognitive, they're not going to give this one up for free like last time.
Maybe. Going to take a bunch of damage from Caitlyn. Everybody else is just holding off. We do have the Baron getting dangerously low. A bunch of damage from Caitlyn, just demolishing that.
Pretty much Caitlyn, yeah.
They disengage, though. Tails still taking full brunt damage from that one as she's sitting behind the wall. No one else is tanking for her. And the bomb comes out from Ziggs, but it's not enough. Explosive Cast going to put Ions in there with the Death Sentence. The Culling going to try to kite them away, but with that regen, they're going to be able to just push right on in. And Beacon Wolf, are you okay? There we go. Started drinking the Drunken Rage, and now they can push down that inhibitor very easily. Nothing else to worry about.
Yeah, they don't have to go mid. They don't have to go top. They can just go straight to the bottom lane, barrel through that inhibitor. If there's a good defense from Cognitive, that defense will be ebbed away by barrels, by Tilted Peacemakers, by all the skill shots and fun things vVv can shoot at them. And this is going to be the hard defense. They need a hard engage on the side of Cognitive. I mean,
they need to somehow pick off Tails and Chris before they can do anything, or Pekin Wolf. There's so many threats.
They need to pick off 4 champions. Even Elise does a ridiculous amount of damage.
Yeah.
And they put the Banshee's Veil. No real damage done yet. You got to go for this. You got to do something.
No, they have to sit back and just let it happen.
This is rough then, because now that mid-top rotation is going to be even stronger for Cognitive, because eventually someone from Cognitive will have to roam and defend the super minions in the bot lane. So vVv looking to take this game. It's just 1 or 2 more pushes. This is very methodical. This is how the poke comps really end up working out. You just see them, in a sense, predictably go lane to lane. And they can push, they'll shove you out of lane, they'll shove you with their poke, they'll damage you and take an objective. And if you're too far behind, it's incredibly difficult to stop. You just have to hard initiate and just say, do it, do something, go for it. Because maybe you'll get past the tank line and blow someone important up. But if they can't survive the tank line, which is not that strong for vVv, then Cognitive don't even have a chance anyways.
All right, so Ziggs just uses ultimate mid. They pinged on it, so they know, and they might try to make a big wave build up in that mid lane or top C. But Baron Dragon spawned. We're going to see them all go towards that one while Chris is up top solo pushing. I'm pretty sure he's confident enough to take out Kenny U. But can he 2v1 is the question, and Ori is there. They're going to get the stun. Gaunty's on the side, though, and will he end up falling? Snipe comes in from Tails. They'll pick up that kill. Well, Kenny U's going to be the next target. Tails comes in, lays in a bunch of damage, just chunking through him at this point, and that will be the double kill over to Tails. And a 2v1 that went into a 3v2 in vVv's favor.
This is dangerous now for Cognitive because vVv have numbers advantage, 50-second respawn times onto iKennyU and Liquid Inori. So this is not looking solid because that mid turret already being pressured by Gragas. This could be the coming of the end for Cognitive.
We'll see. Here goes the push. Here's everybody joining in. There's the bomb coming in from Ziggs to clear out most of that wave, but I'm pretty sure they'll have no problem tanking this one. Cocoon comes into the Ions. Is he going to get blown up again? He pops the box in response. Explosive Cast comes in from Pekin Wolf. He picks up the kill. While now the turret falls, the inhibitor soon to follow, and possibly the game while Chris flashes forward, looking for anybody he can. We do see Flappy Bearfish getting destroyed. Flash body slam Barrow comes in from Pekin Wolf, and he will get taken out as this is going to be game 3 of tonight, going over to vVv over Cognitive in a very dominating fashion.
I mean, vVv, they've got 6 dragons, 2
Barons.
Barons.
Fountain.
They definitely can do it.
Xenoblade, Gaunty.
Oh,
he lived. Very
nice.
surprising.
But I mean,
very cool.
6 dragons, 2 Barons, total map control, total just poke advantage. Really well played team comp coming out from vVv. They had a few gaffes early on, but nothing too major, and they just completely controlled that game. Looked very, very solid.
Yeah, that's the definition of a controlled game. We're going to see if Cognitive can bring it back a little bit later on. But either way, that's going to be it for that match. We do have Super Team NA taking on Curse Academy up next here at the NACL Season 2. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have them all lobby ready to go. So we'll see you after the break.